Hey guys, it's Alex Powell here with another episode of the Real Estate Leadership and Legacy Podcast. I am super excited about this video. Dave Dubeau, who is a marketing mastermind when it comes to real estate and for real estate investors. So there's a ton of really great nuggets here. If you are somebody who has been wondering, how do I find deals? Where do I get money from? You are going to want to check out this video. It is awesome, chock full of great information. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Real Estate Leadership and Legacy Podcast. I have a very exciting guest today, Dave Dubeau. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dave.
Alex, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. So just to get everyone up to speed with who Dave is a real estate entrepreneur. He's an author and a podcast host, and one that I have been gracious enough to be a part of twice now, actually. He's also the creator of the Money Partner Formula, and he works with new capital raisers, and he leverages their networks to attract joint venture partners and private investors without being desperate or high pressure. So I'd like to get into a little bit about your background and kind of what got you started. But of course, you have a pretty extensive experience in terms of timing in investing in real estate. So I was hoping
Is
you
that
could
a nice way of saying you're damn old, Dave? Yeah, you're right.
You look damn good, though, Dave. I'll tell you that.
That's what I tell myself. But anyhow.
Yeah, if you could tell kind of what got you started into real estate, and then we can kind of talk about how you've progressed into where you're at now.
Yeah, cool. I actually kind of grew up around real estate. The family home was one unit in a sixplex that my grandfather and my father built.
Mm-hmm.
Then my parents split up, and my mom was actually a real estate investor herself way back in the 70s and 80s, a single mom raising a snot-nosed kid, and built up a portfolio of about 50 rental units at that time. Unfortunately, that all went poof when the interest rates hit 19 to 20% back in the 80s. So that was a little bit, probably maybe turned me off of real estate. I didn't really take a look at it until later on. And basically what happened, Alex, was I was living, of all places, down in San Jose, Costa Rica for about a decade. I started dabbling a little bit in what we would call pre-foreclosure deals. And then in 2003, I decided to pack up my Costa Rican wife and two little kids and move them back to the frozen hinterlands of British Columbia, Canada. And people go, why did you do that? And you don't realize what we've got here until you leave it for a while. So Costa Rica is great, but for raising kids, hard to beat Canada. So that's what we decided to do. And I had to start all over again from scratch. I didn't have bad credit. I've been gone so long, I had zero credit. I've been self-employed for a long time. I pretty much didn't qualify for any jobs. So I thought, hey, what can I do? I need to start my own business. And I saw one of those infamous late night infomercials. You too can get rich in real estate with little or no money down. And I said, hey, that's perfect. That's about what I've got. I hadn't been able to sell my business in Costa Rica yet, so I didn't have very much cash, and I needed to get into something a little bit less, financially intensive. So I took that course. It was all American stuff, of course, but I made it work here in Canada. And my initial kick of the can was in the first 18 months to 2 years, I did about 18 creative type real estate deals in and around the small city I live in, which is Kamloops. Yeah,
very cool.
That's how I got started.
Excellent. It's funny. I actually too got started on one of these, come to this weekend webinar, and then from the weekend webinar, they sell you on their course package and stuff like that. And so many people that I talk to are, no, this is the worst thing you could ever do. But I found that it's kind of what you make of it. If you're willing to put in the work and the effort and the time, you can do quite well with it. So I know a lot of people.
I've got a good friend of mine who he and his wife over the course of a couple of years invested, I believe, $60,000 into different coaching and training, one of those kind of things, and took massive action and ended up buying apartment buildings and just really got right into it. They had some other friends that took the exact same training, spent the exact same amount of money, and bought nothing. And of course, ended up blaming the coaching and the training and all that sort of stuff. So it really is what you make of it. It's all about taking action.
For sure. What kind of business were you doing in Costa Rica?
I had a language training school, and we taught Costa Rican executives how to speak English gooder. That's what
Hmm.
we did.
Very cool. Very cool. And that, so you obviously have and I can attest to this. I've seen kind of your back end systems as we've coordinated for other podcasts and things like that. You're quite the marketing mogul, I would say,
Oh
in the
well,
sense that,
I
yeah,
appreciate that. No, I
yeah.
I've enjoy marketing. Marketing was something that I became passionate about when I started my very first business way back in 1993 in San Jose, Costa Rica. I
Hmm.
didn't have the faintest clue about what I was doing, and I quickly realized that I needed to kind of figure out how to get customers. So,
Yeah.
that was way before the internet was anything. So, buying books and trying to learn all this stuff in Costa Rica was a bit of a challenge. But yeah, that's really marketing is huge. That's how I was able to take that little startup company from zero. And we had a lot of competitors. We had like over 50 direct and indirect competitors in that market. So, went from zero to a top three company within 2.5 years, thanks to marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, marketing, I will fully admit, is probably one of my most frustrating sticking points. And I'm
Yeah.
sure probably a lot of other investors and entrepreneurs can attest to that. It is such a necessary evil,
Evil.
but it's the easiest way to blow money uselessly. And
Yes.
that's the biggest issue, because like you need marketing. You have to market, whether it's for deals, joint venture partners, or even just to network yourself, to build a brand for yourself. You have to
Yeah.
market. And it's the easy, like I've seen money just poof into smoke and then just
Well,
disappear
especially
out the
these
window.
days with digital marketing, right? So Facebook
Yes.
ads and Google ads and all these kind of digital platforms where unless you've got that 100% dialed in, which I do not claim to have that dialed in, it is
Mhm.
so easy to blow a ton of money. And then you work with consultants and say, oh, you got to wait until this and that. And you should be bidding on likes and you should be bidding on clicks and blah, blah, blah. No, you need to really focus on results.
Mhm.
So my whole preference when it comes to marketing, Alex, is really simple. It's something called direct response marketing. Like you do something and you either get a result or you don't, but you know exactly who you're going after, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, well, give me an example. So for you, what would you say is like, which part of the marketing thing is the most frustrating for you? Is it finding deals? Is it which when you
Well,
were thinking that it's a necessary evil, what popped to your mind first, if you don't mind sharing?
well, I was popping the umbrella of marketing, but
Yeah.
our three main marketing categories is obviously marketing for off market deals, marketing for partnerships and equity
Hmm.
or joint venture, whatever the case may be, and then of course just like brand awareness, which is more so
Yeah.
just a slow kind of cog. I wouldn't even put it, but the main two that are like you're active with KPIs that you're trying to hit certain targets are
Yeah.
your deals and your
And your
money,
dough.
right? Yeah.
The deals of the
Exactly.
dough, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, and I hope you're okay with us just kind of discussing this because
Yeah,
I
for
think it can
sure.
be
Let's do it.
valuable for you and for your listeners as well. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the deals first.
Uh-huh.
And what is the market area that you're kind of focused on or specializing in? And what kind of properties are you going after, Alex?
Yeah, so good question. So if we're looking at, and I will focus mainly on like let's say the off-market deals for the flipping side of our business, because more of the larger multifamily stuff is typically traded through realtors off-market. So
Hmm.
that's more of just a networking campaign between calling
But
people
then you
and
have to find the right
yeah,
brokers, right? And you have to get on.
yes,
There's marketing for brokers in that case. But anyhow, let's talk about the
100%.
flipping thing. So where are you
Yeah,
doing your
so
flips?
we're targeting like Hamilton obviously is
Yeah.
number one. That's kind of home base for us, but we'll do from Welland, Niagara, St. Catharines to Brantford, and we've got one in just outside of Caledonia that we're doing right now. We've got one in Thorold that we're doing right now as well. So that's kind of our pool is like the west end of Toronto, let's say. I wouldn't shy away from let's say a Burlington or Oakville, but I just find that it's just the property values right there. They're already so inflated. I don't know the market as well, let's say out that way.
Yeah.
So
So that is a challenge because you're trying to cover a heck of a lot of ground with your marketing, right? So I don't even
mhm.
know what the population base of all of those communities would be. I don't even know the distance radius, but I'm assuming that that's hundreds of kilometers and
Yep.
millions of people. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
so.
So that is challenge because the bigger the market that you're going after, the harder it is for you to stand out. So I'll just give you an example. When I was doing those creative, low money, no money down type deals, the city I live in Kamloops, at that time had a population of 80,000 people.
Hmm.
That's it, right? So not hard, you know. Challenge is small city, far fewer opportunities. Advantage is small city, easier to make a splash, bigger
Yeah,
fish in a smaller pond kind of thing, right?
for
So
sure.
right now you're competing against every other flipper, and there's quite a few in that area, and you're a bit more of a generalist versus a specialist, right?
Hmm.
And I'm not telling you what to do, Alex. You're very successful
No,
at what
no,
you're
this
doing.
is great. I love it.
However, if you had to pick one of those markets and somebody would smack you upside the head if you thought about any other ones, which one market is the best for you?
I'd say Hamilton. That it's just right at our fingertips. It's close vicinity wise.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
So
there.
that would be the easiest one for us for sure.
Yeah. So again, I'm not telling you, I'm just giving you an idea here.
Hmm.
If everything you did for your house flipping business, and Hamilton's a fairly big city. What's the population? Like
About half a
Hamilton
mil.
and general area. How many?
About 500,000, let's say. Hamilton proper.
And the close outskirts.
Probably about another 250
So you're
on
getting
top of
close to
that.
1 million people, right? So
Hmm. Yep.
I'm going to suggest there's probably enough opportunity there with number of houses and motivated sellers that you probably wouldn't need to go far out of there if you had enough deal flow. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah,
Like
for
there
sure.
are enough houses in that area that you could be doing the volume of flips that you wanted to do.
Hmm.
So if that were the case, then I would be all over just branding myself as Alex Pell, the Hamilton home buyer guy. Like Hamilton home buyers or whatever the heck it is. That's probably
Hmm.
taken, but something along those lines,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And then that would be it. That would be my laser focus. I'm just going to stick to Hamilton. And then I would deck out my vehicle with that signage. I would focus the branding on Hamilton home buyers or whatever the heck you call it, right?
Hmm.
Hamilton cash buyers, whatever cool name. URL is that everything is Hamilton and area you can put in there, right? But that's the
Hmm.
focus. Then whatever you're doing for advertising, focus on Hamilton. Like whatever you're doing for direct mail, focus on Hamilton. Whatever you're doing for, you know, bird dogs, whatever you're doing for drive by, whatever you're doing for leaflet drops or knocking on doors or whatever, it's all Hamilton. And that does two things. Number one, it does three things, a bunch of things. First thing is it really helps you to focus, right? It helps you to
It
laser
does
focus.
simplify it big
Oh,
time.
huge.
Yeah.
It helps you to figure out, okay, it's not even the entire city that you're going after. It's probably certain parts of that city that you're going after that have more of the kind of houses that you can get into, turn around and flip,
Hmm.
and there's the demands there. So you focus on those neighborhoods, especially if you're doing direct mail. And then you start, coming up with a budget and a campaign. If you're doing postcards or whatever it is that you're doing, every month something's coming out, ding, 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 ding. And I don't know, I got a number of deals from vehicle signage back in the day. That works. It's pretty low tech, works well.
Hmm.
Heck, even a lot of the old school stuff works well. Like I had the I buy houses business cards,
Yeah, yeah.
obnoxious, double sized, bright black on bright yellow, ugly as sin. And everything that I did was kind of branded around that.
But you can't
And I
miss it.
joined local chamber of commerce. Everywhere I went, I was dropping these cards off, um, tear tab signs on community bulletin boards, all this kind of stuff, which sounds cheesy, but it works. It still works, right? And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to cost a lot. So I
And I
probably
think that
gave you way more than you're asking for.
you brought up a couple of great points because I think that nowadays a lot of marketing is noise. It's just like, and not necessarily great noise in the sense that I think that it's very easy to overcomplicate marketing.
Yeah.
And I know I've fallen victim to it as well in that, case in point, spreading out too much. trying to
Too thin.
focus on too many things. Whether it's, we have multiple business streams that are kind of vertically integrated too, so that adds a level of complexity as well because you're marketing different features of what your business can offer, while at the same time. But it's a very interesting and good point is that you hyper focus like a laser, and you can actually gain more success that way, which is actually super good advice. They're really cool, really cool.
Yeah. And then the same kind of advice holds true for potential investors and money partners, which is where I focus. I don't, that's what we do is we help
Mhm.
capital raisers to find their ideal investor partners. Right. So, we don't work on the other kind of marketing stuff.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same idea. I see so many would-be capital raisers or newer capital raisers just kind of doing the spray and pray approach,
Hmm.
right? So everybody and anybody who's got a pulse and maybe a checking account could be an investor for them. That's their mentality.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge for the same reason we just talked about, where if you're spreading yourself too thin. So first of all, it's it can be dangerous. I see so many Canadian real estate investors pitching their deals on social media, and it just makes me cringe. And now
Yeah.
I'm no lawyer and I'm no security specialist or anything like that, but my understanding of things is that it's actually illegal to pitch your deals on public
Yeah.
platforms.
You can't, like, not unless you have the right license for it.
Yeah, the right
Yeah.
license, or you've got an offering memorandum and you're able to go out to the public, which most mom and pops, they're nowhere
No.
near that, right? But
No.
they just don't know. And you got this unpleasant thing in Ontario called the Ontario Securities Commission, right? Securities and Exchange Commission.
Yeah.
You don't want to get in their crosshairs because that's a government entity. Their whole job is to take people down
For
that they
sure.
think are crossing line with security. So, but so many people get away with it, and even some of the big names that should know better, I see them doing this on a regular basis too. So other people take their cues from them, and it's fine until you get caught. Then you have to lawyer up at $500 an hour, and they
Yeah.
get to go after you for free, and they get paid for it. So it's not whether you win or lose, you lose. So
Yes. Yes. Yes.
so number one, don't be pitching your deals on social media. You guys don't be saying, "Hey, I'm looking for an investor. I'm offering 16% and blah blah blah." Don't
Hmm.
don't do that. So what do you do? Here's what I'm going to recommend for newer capital raisers. What I recommend is you create a target group of investor prospects. And a lot of people say, Dave, I don't know anybody with any money. Everybody I know is broke, blah, blah, blah,
Are you
right?
are you referring to like an avatar?
No, I'm actually just talking about don't worry about avatars just yet. Let's figure out
Okay.
on a group first of all. Like let's figure out what we're going to target first of all.
Hmm.
And we need to take a step back, Alex, and think about, okay, if I'm new to working with investors, joint venture partners, what have you, and if I don't have much track record, like any, who in their right mind is going to invest with me, right?
Yeah.
Who would possibly? Well, here's who's going to invest with you: people that you already know, people
Yep.
who already know you, like you, and trust you. Those are the people who are going to be your first investors. So let's focus on those people first. And who are those people? Well, they're your family members. They're
Hmm.
your close friends. They're associates from work. They're people that you know from church or civic organizations. If you're part of a sports club or Rotary, whatever you're into, it's people that you have that pre-existing relationship with.
Yep.
Now, all of those people hopefully know you. Most of them hopefully like you. Some of them probably trust you. Maybe not everybody trusts you with 100 grand or 200 grand yet, but at least you got a couple of those pieces of the puzzle taken care of versus just trying to go out to complete strangers. And I'm
Hmm.
talking from experience here, Alex, because even though I'm fairly astute with marketing, when I was first trying to raise capital, I was doing the spray and pray approach because I
For
heard
sure.
some jerk guru say, "Hey, find a good deal and the money will find you." So I'd run out of my own money, had done a couple of deals and found a really good deal, and I needed 85 grand in 2 weeks. And then I started panicking and I started doing everything wrong. I started,
So you got the deal first and then the money,
I
which
got
is
the deal first. Yeah. So I started
yeah.
cold calling people trying to get, I think I needed 85 grand or something like that. Well, that didn't work. Nobody wanted to give me 85 grand over the phone. Started networking and schmoozing and going out and doing my little elevator pitch on people. Well, what stranger is going to turn around and give you 85 grand from
Yeah.
the get go, especially when you got this desperation oozing out of every pore in your body, right?
We call it, the realtors call it commission breath. Yeah.
Every salesperson calls it commission breath. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It emanates from you. And then I spammed everybody I knew about this deal. And all I accomplished, Alex, was I got a lot of egg on my face, did not close on that deal, lost it, and turned off a lot of really good prospective investors because I was so clumsy and desperate about how I was going about it. So I don't want your followers, your listeners to make the same mistake. So here's a couple of big ideas, you guys. Number one, don't wait until you've got a deal to start raising the money.
Mm-hmm.
Do not take that advice. Do both at the same time. Be having the money conversations and be looking for the deals at the same time. So ideally, by the time you come up with a good deal, you've got 4 or 5 people who've already shown serious interest and said, hey, you know what, Alex, when you got a deal, let me know. I want it, right? So have those conversations. The target group you want to focus on, I suggest, come up with a list of about 150 to 200 people that you have a pre-existing relationship with. It's not as hard as it sounds. Here's what we do with our clients. We get their phone and we export all their contacts from their cell phone. We get their email addresses. We export all their contacts from their email. We get their social media stuff. We export all their social media contacts. There's usually several thousand people in there. Now, are they all legit connections? Of course not. I don't know about you, Alex, but 99% of my Facebook friends, I have no clue who the hell these people are. I really don't. Right?
Yeah. No, I got those. Yeah. Such's mom from daycare who wants to set up a play date with one or whatever. Yeah. We've
that
got
one
those.
might not be too bad, but
yeah.
But anyhow, so what we do is we do a data dump, get all your contacts from everywhere, put them into a spreadsheet, merge, purge, deduplicate. Then you got a list of whatever, let's say 1,000 or 1,200 people.
Mm-hmm.
Those still aren't all legitimate connections. So just go through that list very, very quickly. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about who's got money, who doesn't have money. Just focus on who do I know and who knows me, right? So go through the list quickly. If I see a name and a face pops into my mind and I like that face, keep them. Go through the list. Don't have any clue who that person is. No faces are popping up. Delete, 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 delete. Whittle it down to a couple of hundred people. And then just like I was recommending with you, for the focus, let's focus our capital raising efforts first on these people. And I was just reading somewhere, Alex, that somebody figured out that the average person has access to somewhere around $2 million of capital within their existing connections already.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
That's probably as far as you need to go, at least in the short term, for where the capital is at. Now, there's all sorts of things that you should be doing to kind of create curiosity and start getting capital from that group, but that's the group that you want to focus on. Does that make sense?
The way you've described it is verbatim what we did at the beginning. Of course, when we started raising capital and stuff like that. Nowadays, we've managed to, network a lot more. We've had speaking engagements that are obviously very helpful to become kind of like a leading or industry expert in whatever we're talking about. But at the beginning, like we were big extended family friends. Of course, we have like the Hungarian community, which was very good as well. And then people see what we do. They're naturally interested. I find that real estate's probably one of the easiest conversations to have. Everyone loves the conversation around real estate, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
But people obviously understand that there's something to be had with it. So eventually, if you can build up that trust and that experience and that you've, a proof of concept is what we call it. And that's one of the things actually Kaylee and I always do because, going back to where you mentioned, there's a lot of people that are like advertising on Facebook. We cringe at the same rate too, because there's way too much hot water. But then also the people that maybe struck gold once, or did one deal and now are boasting that they're God's gift to real estate. It's a very scary kind of thought too, because we've seen what's happened over this downturn, and we know a lot of folks, I'm sure, in our mutual networks that have kind of gone belly up because of it. So
yeah, well, and some people that have done more than one or two deals too. Some people that
I know
have significant experience in portfolios have gone belly
Yeah.
up. So yeah,
So
it's
that's why even us, whenever we merge into like a new market, we're always doing a proof of concept with our own cash first, and that's it.
yeah,
So we can figure it out, and then that way we can create the systems and the network around what needed to help others thrive.
yeah,
These are
smart.
honestly, Dave, these are amazing nuggets, and they sound so simple and so obvious. And why do you think that we overcomplicate marketing? Because
Well, I
obviously
don't.
there's more layers to it, and I'm sure that guys, what you guys are hearing from Dave is amazing, and I've seen your back end systems as I can mention. So definitely reach out to Dave if you guys have some marketing needs. But why do you think we tend to overcomplicate this kind of thing?
I think most people don't overcomplicate it. Actually, Alex, I think most people don't do anything with it. So you'd
Okay.
be like one of the few that overcomplicates it. So, congratulations for taking
Yeah,
that
yeah,
action.
yeah,
Most people just got to throw up their hands and stay stuck is the
yeah,
reality of
yeah,
what happens. Um, the folks that do overcomplicate it, you know what? I think part of it is because there's just so much information out there,
yeah,
and there's so many different people doing so many different things, so many different ways, and supposedly having massive success with it. That I don't know about you, but I'm kind of a shiny object syndrome guy. So I see somebody that who's a good marketer talking about their, hey, you got to do the lead generation this way, and here's why it's so great. And ooh, that sounds cool. So then you go down that path, and then maybe
yeah,
it does or doesn't work as well as their thing. And then so you see another shiny object. So you can tend to go down that path, and everything looks like it's bigger and better than the previous thing. And I think a lot of people get caught up with that versus kind of figuring out something that works well and really dialing in on that and just riding that for all it's worth, because you don't, you do, probably is a good idea to have a variety of different ways that you're generating leads, but when you find one or two that really work well, put a lot of effort into those.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's amazing, amazing advice from a guy who knows his marketing. That's amazing.
Well, thanks.
So right now, tell me a little bit about like your clientele and what you're looking for, and do you have maybe some success stories you'd like to share with the audience? I'd love to hear kind of how you've made out.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've been doing this for quite some time, Alex. So, yeah, when it comes to helping people raise capital, we've been doing this for like at this point, a dozen, 14 years, something like that.
Amazing.
Um, these days we work with private clients. So altogether, I think we're at 250 some private clients that we've helped over the years. Last time we were keeping track, it was over 350 million in capital we've helped them to raise, cumulatively,
Mm-hmm.
not one chunk kind of thing.
Fantastic.
So yeah, it works. And success stories, yeah, we got lots of them on my website. There's I'm big on testimonials, that's for sure, and success stories. Some of the ones that really pop to my mind, I worked with a couple from Ontario, in your neck of the woods, a couple of years ago when we first started working together, husband and wife team, and they went to one of those weekend seminars and did the upgrade and all that kind of stuff. And they were both working at jobs they didn't really like. The woman was about 5 foot nothing and a security guard at a prison, of all things. I don't even know how that happens, but hated
Tough
her
as
job.
nails.
Hated her. Yeah, she was the motor. Hated her
Yeah.
job. So anyhow, they were doing real estate. They bought their first two properties under their own financial steam, a single family home, and then they duplexed another single family home, and then they ran out of cash and credit and got stuck. And that's when we started working with them. Within a few weeks, we helped them to tap into their existing network, and actually, they got their first investor partner from her dad, and her stepmom invested 100 grand in their next deal. That got
Hmm.
them rolling. In their first year, they went from 3 rental units to 47 rental units in their portfolio.
Amazing.
She was able to quit her job. She was a very happy camper. The second year, so they started getting into multifamily properties, a small apartment building. Second year, they got up to 88 units in their portfolio. The husband, he was self-employed as a mechanic. He was able to stop doing that. And they started traveling around a lot. And a lot of you folks out in Ontario like the Caribbean.
Hmm.
So they discovered Curacao in the Caribbean, fell in love with the place, bought a single family home they turned into an Airbnb. So they stayed down there when they want to. They bought it with other people's money. So they had joint venture partners on that. Bought another one. Last time I was talking to them a couple of years ago, they had bought a small rundown resort with a group of investors, and they're turning that into luxury short-term rentals in Curacao and
Wonderful.
absolutely loving their life. So that's within a period of 3 or 4 years, they completely transformed their lives thanks to real estate and thanks to tapping into investors and their capital.
That is sensational. Very, very, very cool. Okay. Well, I like this has been such a enlightening conversation. I think marketing around real estate and the business of real estate is just as applicable as the intricacies of investing in real estate itself. So the last kind of part of this conversation I wanted to turn to just before we call it for the day.
Sure.
What kind of legacy are you hoping to kind of pass on? Or what's, you've been doing this for some time. You're well known, very well known in the industry to the guy who knows how to raise capital and market for these kind of these ventures. What would you like to leave behind? What's your legacy?
You know what, Alex? That's a good question. And I have a really crappy answer for you in that I think people banter legacy around way too much. And I think it's bullshit. Do the best you can while you're here on earth. Don't be thinking too much about when you're gone because nobody else will be for very long, including your kids. They love you, and that's all good. Do the best you can to be a good parent while you're here, to be a good friend while you're here, to provide value while you're here, and don't overthink it for legacy. I mean, if you just, I'm a bit of a history buff. Like you have to do some major stuff to leave a legitimate legacy. If you think back 150 years, who has left a legacy from 150 years ago? Like legitimately.
Yeah.
like we still remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my take on legacy. I'm not overly concerned about it. I'm more concerned about the here and now,
living your life to its fullest at the moment.
Yeah,
that in itself is actually, I would argue that that's probably a good legacy in itself. Truly, that's wonderful. Well, Dave, honestly, you are so insightful and just a wealth of knowledge, and I know that you are just exceptional at what you do. So if people want to get a hold of you, of course, we're going to post it in the show notes as well. But how can people get a hold of you if they want to reach out?
Yeah, just go to my website. It's called moneypartnerformula.com, moneypartnerformula.com. There's some goodies on there. You can book a call. That's the best way.
Amazing. And guys, don't forget, if you guys are interested in this kind of capital raising conversation type stuff, Dave himself has a very, very, very successful podcast, Property Profits, right? You guys could find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that kind of, all the regular platforms, I imagine. Right?
I hope so. It better be up there.
Yeah, very good. Definitely check it out. Especially check out the other episodes that Dave and I chat on. So we have a lot of fun there too. But Dave, my gratitude to you, all the blessings. Thank you so much for spending some time with our viewers today, and be well.
My pleasure. Thank you, Alex.
All right. Thanks, guys, for joining me on today's episode of the Real Estate Leadership and Legacy Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please check out some of our other videos. We've got an abundance out there. We've got a lot of great insight and information, and we'll see you guys on the next one.